So far away, Lucas, are you ready to talk about my favourite Spider-Man villain?
Ooh. Let me guess.
Okay.
Mysterio?
No. I'll give you one more guess and I'll give you a clue. It's real dumb.
Oh, it's real dumb.
It's a real dumb one.
Oh.
And I like him for a really stupid reason.
Maybe like Shocker.
It's not the Shocker. It is the Lizard.
Oh, of course it is.
Do you know why, Lucas? Because he's a lizard! It's like, I love the lizard. So, yeah, folks at home, welcome to another episode of Wiki Weekend with me, Karl, and my faraway friend, Lucas. And
hello.
And today we're going to be covering the character of Dr. Curtis Connors. Is it Curtis? Yeah, it's Curtis, okay. From the Marvel Universe, and a link to the wiki we're reading from, as always, can be found below. But before that, Lucas, what do you know about some fucking lizard?
He's a big green lizard, man.
He's just a lizard. And I think, like, the only reason I like the lizard is because he wears a lab coat.
I was gonna say, yeah, he's a lab coat, man.
I don't know what it is about the idea of a lizard wearing a lab coat that cracks me the fuck up.
Good reflexes for a future handbag.
And I'm gonna say right now, he's not the lizard if he doesn't have a snout.
Yeah, and he's not the lizard if he's not wearing a lab coat.
That's true.
So are we both in agreement that the lizard from Amazing Spider-Man is not a lizard?
He's not the lizard.
He's not the lizard.
He is a lizard.
He's a lizard, but he's not the lizard. And I'm never going to stop being salty about the fact we never got that fourth Spider-Man movie because the lizard was going to be the villain.
I mean, realistically, I think, like, oh, God, the villain just would have been Avi Arad again.
Yeah, so people don't know what we're talking about here. Avi Arad is a weirdo who's obsessed with Venom. And he's been a producer on all the Spider-Man movies. And for the Raimi-verse, he was just like, put Venom in it. Put Venom in it, and Raimi very sagely pointed out the technology does not exist to realize Venom as he exists in the comic books. He is basically impossible to realize in live action in a way that fans would be happy with. I would rather use other villains, and I think Sam Raimi was pretty accurate in that assessment, considering we've still not had a good Venom movie.
I like being bad. It makes me happy.
No, I think, like, you know, nowadays, the, like, look of Venom in the two Venom movies, it looks okay.
The look is fine,
It looks passable, and I'd say, like, it's up to par, but, yeah, for sure, at the time when Spider-Man 3 was coming out, like, that did not look okay. Topher Grace did not look okay in that film.
Topher Grace would have been a fantastic Carnage, I feel. Because have you seen the Predators movie, where Topher Grace is in it and he plays a serial killer?
I have no idea why we're here.
What, they snatched 7 stone killers and made a mistake with you? I don't think so.
I don't know why we're here, I swear.
Why?
Okay, they didn't make a mistake.
No, the only other thing I've seen, like, clips of Topher Grace from was, like, a 90s sitcom or something.
Oh, yeah, that 70s show. Yeah, but, like...
it was that 70s show, yeah.
Yeah, Topher Grace, though, is in... I want to say... I'm going to just go out on a limb and say it's definitely Topher Grace. It's 100% absolutely Topher Grace in that movie, and he plays a serial killer. So he could have realistically been a decent Carnage, and Carnage is a lot more live than Venom. I think that's the problem. Like, Eddie Brock is a fucking bodybuilder in the comics.
Yeah.
And, like, he turns into a soldier later in his life. Like, just... Topher Grace is not as physical, because that's the whole point of Venom, is that he's physically imposing compared to Spider-Man being more lithe and agile.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the most kind of recent, when Spider-Man 3 came out, kind of adaptations, like the 90s Spider-Man, Venom was like 3 times the size of Spider-Man.
Why don't we introduce you to our better half? We call ourselves Venom.
I still think that's my favourite version of Venom, just because of the bit where he's driving the truck.
I think my favourite version of Venom was from, like, one of the video games where you could play as him and just, like, instead of wall crawl, you just pounce up the side of buildings.
It's the ultimate Spider-Man game where he has the locomotion jump, and he just jumps 300 feet into the air.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I remember that one.
That felt really fun at the time.
I also like him in like Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Yes.
Where he has like they utilize the symbiote in a really interesting way, where like his low attack is he just screams and the symbiote jumps out of his toes and sort of thing. He has like
does
tentacles.
like the little like whale attack where he just looks like an orca jumping out of water.
Yeah, and that's like it's just taking advantage of sprite animation to show like in the fluidity of a character who can basically turn into liquid at any given point. But bring it back to the lizard. People are probably wondering, wait, the lizard is in those Spider-Man movies? He is. Dr. Curtis Connors is in the movies. He's
yes,
Parker's,
the actual
professor.
Scientist is in there, yeah.
Yeah, and he has the one arm like he does in the comics. For people who aren't maybe familiar with the backstory of the Lizard or Dr. Curtis Connors, he is an expert in like lizards and like I think there's a word for that I don't know, but he's that thing.
Let me have a look.
And he is obsessed with the idea of harnessing the regenerative capabilities of lizards and other reptiles to grow back his missing arm. And he comes up with a solution for that turns him into a fucking lizard. And he's like, yeah, lizard, let's go. You found the word for like a reptile expert. I think it's like heptologist or something like that.
No. Oh, herpetology.
Herpetology, there we go.
Is the study of
lizards.
amphibians and reptiles.
But let's get some basic biographical information out now about the lizards we have here. Name, Dr. Curtis Kurt Connors. And I love in some comics where the lizard retains like most of his mental faculties and he's just doing science as the lizard and he still insists people call him doctor because he does have a doctorate. There was like one comic where he gets arrested and sent to prison and he's still in his lizard form and he like makes a formal request of, can I have a lab in prison? Like, we're not going to give an evil genius lizard a lab. And he's like, but I can invent stuff that'll help humanity. Just let me do it. And they give him a lab. They believe him and they give him a lab and he does science experiments in prison as a lizard. So he's a prison lizard.
Yeah, but of course his ultimate goal is going to be to like concoct something that gets him out of prison.
Yeah, and that's what they worry about, but he doesn't apparently. He's like, he's trying to cure cancer or some shit. Anyway, so you have here code names, lizard. I don't like he's the lizard. He's not lizard, he's the lizard. And his other aliases include, there's no band names here unfortunately, it's just Lizard Man from Soul Calibur.
That's a bit disappointing though.
Have you ever heard as well, like, I've heard this, but I don't know if I believe it, but then when you look at the evidence, it seems to be true, where the favourite character of, like, the main producer of Soul Calibur is Lizard Man.
Okay.
And you'd think, well, how can it be Lizard Man when there's all those, like, great big honking tits in it? And then you look at how often Lizard Man is in the game, despite just being a lizard.
Generic Lizard Man.
He's just in the game.
With no name.
I also love this bit. Are you ready, though? Marital status, married. Married to the lizard.
I also just want to appreciate that you were like, oh, obviously, one of the Soul Calibur best characters should be like woman with big boobs. And I was like, yeah, but Voldo's right there.
Voldo is right there, yes. Oh, we have here weight and height is 5'11" and 175 pounds as Curtis Connors, and he goes to 6'8", 550 pounds as the lizard.
That sounds a bit more imposing, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. Then hair, no hair as a lizard. Imagine that, furry lizard. Let's go.
Oh god, that'd be so weird, like furry, scaly lizard man.
Then unusual features: anthropomorphic reptile with scales, a 6'6" prehensile tail, claws, fangs, and formally a missing right arm.
And that's not always, I presume. But that is ultimately why he becomes, like, the lizard in the first place, is to try and regenerate his arm like a lizard.
And the thing as well, he does invent a serum that regrows his arm, but it just turns him into a lizard.
Neogenic recombinator. He used it on himself as an experiment to make his arm grow again. But it turned him into that creature.
And I'm wondering, like, as we shit on the Amazing Spider-Man lizard, but I wonder how many people out there would willingly become a lizard. If you told, like, do you know, like, people like maybe got limbs missing?
Oh, like if he actually gave people a choice.
Yeah, it's just the fact, right? And that's the thing. He goes straight. He does like the Doc Ock tech from Spider-Man PS4, where he immediately goes from "I'm going to help save humanity" to "everyone has to die." And I feel like if just Curtis Connors went on the news as the lizard, because he can talk, and said, "Well, look, I get I'm a lizard, kind of weird, But 10 hours ago, I had an arm missing. And now I'm super strong, I don't get cancer, and I can run at like 500 miles an hour. If there's anyone out there who wants to join me, Lizard Revolution, meet me at this location at this time, I'll give you some lizard powers.
At which point he'd definitely get arrested for trying to, like, make an army of lizard people.
But that's the thing, though. Would you get in trouble for that? It's like he's basically just... Or get people to volunteer for the experiment. It's like, have you got legs missing?
Yeah.
Are you willing to become a lizard to get new legs?
Like, in that universe, is there any current law that says you can't turn
That's the
someone
thing.
else into
Look,
a lizard man?
there's no law against being a lizard. And that's why being... That's the thing as well. It's so... Cause I just like saying the word lizard.
Yeah.
It's such a fun word, but... and I'm not going to, like, go through, like, his backstory, because obviously he's been a Spider-Man villain for decades now, but I'm just going to go through the subheadings before we get to the fun stuff, powers and abilities, and just let me know if any of these stick out to you, Lucas, because some of them are quite funny. So you have early life, experiments, and then it's following that, lizard. That's... Do you know, like, that's Curtis Con's life, like, early life, experiment, lizard.
Lizard.
Just becomes lizard. And
So
then
what comes after lizard?
the Batwing, May Parker,
What?
the Rhino, and then Return of the Lizard.
You say the Batwing?
Let's have a look. What the fuck's Batwing? Spider-Man later asked Dr. Connors to use expertise to help cure Batwing. There we go.
Oh, Batwing's a
character,
Marvel
yeah.
character as well as, like, Batman's vehicle.
And that's the thing, he's an expert on turning people into and from weird animal-human hybrids. And one of the things I like about Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery, if people haven't noticed this, is that most of his Rogues Gallery is either dangerous animals, or in the case of Kraven the Hunter, people who hunt dangerous animals.
Or dangerous aliens like Venom.
Yeah. And one thing I would like to point out about Dr. Curtis Connors' biographical information, I don't know if this is, like, on purpose, but he's from Florida. And the fact that the Florida character turns into basically a big alligator is kind of funny to me. But after the Return of the Lizard, we have Six-Armed Spider-Man, Spidey's Identity, Stegatron, Man-Thing, the original Clone Saga, fucking the Clone Saga,
Oh, God, yeah.
Stegatron's Return, Iguana, Spider-Lizard, Man-Wolf, Moonstone, Secret Wars, and then it moves on to, like, Harry Osborn, Sewer Battle, The Trial of Kurt Connors.
Oh, my God.
That's it. He's got so many of these different stories. Look, then it goes on to After the Trial of Kurt Connors, Calypso's Return, A New Lizard, Martha's Death, The Sinister 12.
Fucking hell. 6 wasn't enough.
I think that shows like how many more members of the Rogues Gallery that Spider-Man has got.
I
Civil
think that
War.
also just shows how, like, unstoppable Spider-Man is.
They need 12 people. Like, that's the thing. It's like when you like Spider-Man PS4, which the Lizard's not in, and I'm really annoyed about it. He better be in the fucking sequel.
Oh,
Because I like the
yeah.
Lizard. But like when what does it take to actually get a drop on Spider-Man, Electro, Dr. Octopus, the Rhino, Vulture, all working, and even then they only managed like one clean hit.
Yeah, because it's just that Scorpion poisons him.
And Scorpion, of course, yeah, Scorpion as well.
Remember, he said not to kill him.
Good idea. In fact, we don't have to do this at all if you don't want to.
We definitely want
Because it's literally like, you know, the Sinister Six against Spider-Man in that. And then he eventually, like, while being, like, completely broken, goes and takes them all down.
Yep, beating most of them two at a time. Like he beats Scorpion and the Rhino at the same time.
And I think he's got, like, a dozen broken bones at that point.
Yep. But speaking of a Sinister 6, or the Sinister 12, I guess, who's your favourite member, Lucas? Because mine's the Lizard. I'm all in on Lizard. Like, all Lizard all the time.
I mean, it's really difficult, like, depending on the adaptation. I really like, you know, I really like Doc Ock. I really like Electro. I'm big fan of Goofy Mysterio.
Oh yeah, big old fishbowl head.
Big old fishbowl head, and like I still can't believe they pulled off the fishbowl head in the MCU to some degree. Like,
and I was hoping because they did fix Electro, didn't they? In like the Spider-Verse movie, not Spider-Verse.
No Way Home.
No Way Home.
Yeah.
Those movies naming conventions are a mess, but they fixed Electro. And they even have him, like, when he has, like, the lightning bolts flash up on his screen, like, they give him the flash of his original costume. It's weird that they didn't do it with the lizard. Like, they very easily could have said, oh, he underwent a secondary mutation as an exposure to the energy of our universe, and just gave him the snout.
Yeah, for sure. And, like, I think that was just a weird thing of, like, maybe they just wanted people to recognize the character. I'm not sure, but
yeah, I guess
it looked weird in both movies. Like, even with the better CGI, like the lack of snout still looks wrong.
Yeah, but Sandman looked great. I think if it turns out, when you look at the end, like, wow, the actor who plays Sandman hasn't aged, and then you find out, yeah, he was never on set. That's some old B-roll that they just had lying around.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, because I just thought that actor had not aged in like 15 years. It's like, no, it's just old B-roll footage they had, and they just CGI'd it into the shot, and I guess it worked.
And I think the actor for the lizard was barely in the movie as well.
Yeah, he did the voiceover, and then again they used archive footage that they just CGI'd in.
Because I think the only time you see him is at the very end when he's healed.
Yeah, and it's just, again, they had footage of the actor from the previous movies, so we'll just use that. Anyway,
yeah,
let's talk about like the powers and abilities of Mr. Lizard. And we have here, powers, lizard physiology. Fuck yeah, it's lizard powers. It's just
what are the powers of a lizard other than having 2 arms?
He's a lizard. Well, let's find out. Superhuman strength. Connors himself has the normal physical strength of a human male of his age, height, and build that engages in little regular exercise. And also, to point out, he's got 1 arm. So realistically, he has half the strength of a man his age, weight, and build who engages in little to no physical exercise.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as a lizard, he possesses sufficient superhuman strength to lift about 12 ton. 12-ton benching
strong.
lizard, and he can jump 18 feet. I feel like if you can lift 12 ton with your arms and legs, you can probably jump higher than 18 feet.
Well, you're not lifting the 12 tons with just your legs, though.
Yeah, I guess it's like, but either way, like 18 feet doesn't sound that high in like a city full of skyscrapers.
Especially when you like, I'm pretty sure you can like use your tail as a little spring.
Yeah, man.
If Mario's taught me anything, you could pull off something like that.
It's like superhuman speed. While the lizard, Connors can run at speeds reaching 45 miles an hour. And I want to know,
terrifying.
Because that's the thing, like, Joe, when they have these powers, like Spider-Man has the proportionate strength of a spider, but it's not just any spider. It's like, they basically combine all the best traits of all the spiders, don't they, into one super spider. It's like, he doesn't just have, like, the proportional strength of, like, one of those really strong spiders. He also has the proportional webbing strength of, like, a spider that has really strong webbing. And stuff like that. And I'm thinking with the lizard, it should be the same thing of, he should have the proportional strength of all the best examples of, like, the lizard kind, reptile kind. And do you know, like, those lizards that can run on water?
You want him to just have, like, the little scoop feet?
Yeah, he should be able to do that, but also he should also have, like, those pouches that some lizards have where they can fly.
And then also have, like, gecko hands so that he can climb on the walls. And
but
stuff,
then, like, the eyes of a chameleon so he can look all around him and, like, it's adaptive camouflage and stuff like that. And then, like, the prehensile tail of a chameleon so he can grab onto stuff.
I think a super spider sounds way less intimidating than, like, a super lizard, a super reptile.
Considering as well, a lot of reptiles eat spiders. Anyway, superhuman stamina. It says here he can physically exert himself at peak capacity for 24 hours before fatigue begins to impair, which means he can run at 45 miles an hour for 24 hours.
Oh, God.
Imagine that running that motorway. And, like, you have the classics as well, like superhuman durability and agility. Like, he can survive small caliber bullet fire without sustaining any injury whatsoever, and he can, like, move at speeds and with reflexes beyond even the finest human athlete. And it's like just bulletproof, super fast, super strong lizard.
That's also running across the water at you.
Yeah, imagine that you're like on the water. Like, imagine if he teamed up with Hydro Man. And he puts, like, he floods the city, and it's like, well, the city's flooded, but at least I'm safe, and you see lizard. But just lizard, he's there. Oh, man, do you remember, like, one of the shows where, like, Hydro Man teams up with Sandman, and it's, like, the worst shit ever, because they don't realise that is a bad idea, and they just join together, and they hate it.
Because, like, obviously, one of the, like, trump cards against Sandman is always just get him wet.
Yeah, so they have Hydro Man accidentally team up with Sandman. It's a terrible fucking idea.
You know what? It's a great idea for Spider-Man.
We have here regenerative healing factors is one of his most important abilities, and despite the lizard's physical durability, he can sustain physical injury. However, if injured, he's able to rapidly regenerate, damage, and destroy tissue with much greater speed and efficiency than an ordinary human. While transformed, his healing powers develop to the point he can regenerate missing limbs, just like many known lizard species.
Including Piccolo.
Yes. The fact that Piccolo's fueled by water. Like, he has one glass of water, he's like, I'm done. And he's that buff. What is in that water, Lucas? I need to know. We have here, tail. While transformed, Connor's has a long reptilian tail that he can use to help balance himself, or as an offensive weapon, he can whip his tail at speeds of 70 miles an hour.
Oh.
It can shatter concrete with great ease, and he can also, if needs be, detach his tail and grow a new one. So which means he can rip his tail off and swing it around like a baseball bat.
At which point, you think to yourself, he's a scientist.
Yeah.
Why would you not build, like, a tail attachment to put on to use it as a more efficient weapon? Like, just add some fucking blades to the end of that thing.
No, you mean like Scorpion does?
Yeah, true, yeah.
So if he's hanging out with the Sinister Six and he sees Scorpion, he's like, have you got a spare tail you can buy? I have 2 tails. Imagine that. I've always wondered why, like, Scorpion don't do that. It's, well, I've got 1 tail. It's like, why you get 15?
Like, why doesn't the Scorpion lend the lizard the Scorpion suit so he can be Scorpion Lizard?
Oh man, Scorp Lizard, let's go. And then fangs and claws. His toe, the end of each finger and toe is tipped with a razor sharp claw that can cut through most conventional material, including stone and metal. That's rough, innit? Imagine, like, again, oh, I'm safe. I'm inside my bank vault and I'm floating in the middle of the ocean. I'm going to look after the peephole lizard.
Why are you in a bank vault in the middle of the ocean?
Because it's the only place you're safe until lizard. Just lizard turns up. You can crawl on walls. Of course he can, you know. I think every single one of Spider-Man's villains has a bullshit explanation for why they can crawl on walls, except for Rhino, whose power is walls stop existing when I walk towards them.
And then Craven's just like, I don't need walls anymore. Just
and then
Craven's
Psionics.
walls.
Wait a minute, what? Lucas, are you ready? Psionics. As the lizard, Connors can telepathically communicate and control all forms of reptile life. That's it! He's game over. Like, so I'm now going to, like, no, just, like, you know, reimagine my scenario. You're in the ocean, you think you're safe, you look out. It's not just lizard, it's lizard and every crocodile on Earth.
Soon, my little friends, I'll unleash you on the populace of New York City. But first, I have work to do in the subway.
And, like, millions of water striders.
Oh, man. That's the, do you know, like, that bit in The Boys where it's like, it's weird as well, like, that's better than anything Aquaman's ever done, where he turns up and it's like, oh, look, it's just the deep. What the fuck's he going to do? And like 15 million sharks are there. Imagine that, but it's just crocodiles. What do you do? What do you do against, like, infinite crocodiles, Lucas? That's it. Can you just imagine, like, he's like breaking into a bank vault and he walks in, and in my head, like, do you know, like, when emperors get delivered on, like, they're carrying the thing and they're sat in the back? Imagine that, but it's just crocodiles.
Just King DDD coming in.
Yeah, he's just walking in with just crocodiles carrying him where he needs to go, and the crocodile's like, "Fuck you, find out, let's go."
Oh god, like, how fun would it be to see, like, the Lizard and King K. Rool team up in Smash Bros?
How satisfying would it be if, like, the Lizard used any of these powers in his films? Like, do you know what they say in some comics? Spider-Man can control spiders, and he never uses that power to just throw tarantulas at people.
Well, like, in The Amazing Spider-Man, isn't there kind of, like, a insinuation of that where all of the lizards start, like, forming upon his base in the sewers?
He's so good.
I'm
Like,
pretty sure
why
that's
is
a
he not
thing
building,
in the film. I can't remember it too well.
why don't you build himself a lizard costume? It's like a costume of living lizards.
No, again, why doesn't he just wear, like, the Scorpion costume on top of himself as a lizard? But then maybe also just make lizard armor on top of it.
No, do you know what he needs to do? Like, he needs to, like, invest and get a lot of hot air balloons. I'm going somewhere with this.
Okay.
And fill them all with alligators. And just at a moment's notice when you're fighting him, it can start raining alligators.
Or just, like, you know, Make a Voltron robot the size of the city out of alligators.
Oh, I'm now thinking as well, because if it's all reptile life, that includes things like snapping turtles. So, cause I'm just thinking, like, I'm going like straight to alligators. Also, in this universe, don't forget, there's that guy who can turn people into dinosaurs.
They're not reptiles, though, are they?
Well, dinosaurs are basically big reptiles.
They're basically, but I don't know how, like... Well,
they say
I don't know how far
crocodiles.
the superpowers go.
Crocodiles, they say, are living dinosaurs because they've not like evolved in like 300 million years.
That's true. Like, where...
You can control crocodiles.
Like, how old do you have to be as a dinosaur where, like, you take seniority over the lizard?
Yeah. So that's what I mean, like the dinosaurs coming in. Like, you can also control dinosaurs. That's fucking sick. And then we have 8 weaknesses. If you can believe it, the lizard has a weakness. His strength and agility are reduced when he's cold. Because lizards have got cold-blooded. Oh, and then we have his paraphernalia is an inhibitor chip. An adamantium encased inhibitor chip surgically grafted into his neck. It allows him to control his transformation. It acts as a fail-safe, which paralyzed times became aggressive while in his reptile form. And that's the thing I like, where the lizard retains full control of his faculties as the lizard, and he talks to people as the lizard. And he just walks around being a lizard. And that's why I love, like, that he has, like, he has that human modesty to wear the lab coat because he's still a scientist.
He's like the smart Hulk, isn't he? You know, the combination
where he's like,
of
he still wears like pants and a t-shirt.
Yep.
But I just love the lizard so much, and I did not realize that the lizard can control all crocodiles.
That's amazing.
It is. I want it. I just want it. Like I just want a movie where he's in, or at least a movie where he's in it and he's good.
I just want a movie where he, like, rocks up on shore, like, surfing an alligator.
It's because, though, it's like I said, I'm 100% admitting this is entirely based on the visual. I'm that basic where it's just I like the visual of just a giant crocodile man wearing a lab coat because it looks so fucking stupid, and I love it. That's all I need to know. I don't care how what his character is. I just like the idea of Dr. Lizard, and the fact as well that he's like a world-renowned expert on this, and in some comics he's like giving fucking lectures as the lizard. Because that's the thing, if I went to university, I've got no interest in like learning about lizards, but I go to his fucking class.
Yeah.
I'd be like, can you imagine like marking shit at the end of the day? You just get like a sternly worded email from like the lizard at like 9 o'clock at night. Oh god, no, may I say? Or he's just got like, you know, opening hours in his office, and he's just him, and then like the rhinos coming in. It's like, do you want to team up? It's like, no, I'm busy. I can't be in the Sinister Six right now. I've got marking to do. But yeah, that's the lizard. And we plug stuff at the end of these, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so if you'd like to follow us on all those social medias, they're all linked below. And anything particular you'd like to plug, Monfrere?
I mean, it depends when this video actually goes out, I suppose.
Yeah.
But just go and follow me on, you know, twitch.tv/legendofcanto, where I stream a nice variety of games.
Yeah, and I would like to plug, at the moment, my other channel, No Context Movie Reviews. I have a YouTube account and a associated Twitter account where I review movies based on one scene taken completely out of context. And you can find them linked below as well.
But you know what that means, Karl?
What's that?
Now you're going to have to say the Amazing Spider-Man No Context review of
I don't want to do that one
Lizard Man in a lab coat, 5 stars.
Because the gimmick is that I give everything 5 stars, and I don't think that's a 5-star worthy movie. Even though I do like the lizard. Oh, could the lizard take control of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Do you think?
No. But I'd like to see him try.
No, I'd like to see him do. I'd like to see them. I bet he could control them a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, not a lot, but enough to, like, make them, like, you know, fall over every now and again. Like, just enough where they'd, like, you know, they wouldn't be as accurate when they're swinging their sword, and they'd, like, you know, like, stub the toe all the time.
Just every now and then they whiff one punch.
Yeah. Or, like, do you know that thing where you just, like, you forget why you walked into a room? I bet he does that. Okay, cool. What were the weird... Like, imagine now, Lucas, you've got the lizard's psionic control of reptiles. What is the thing you could do to freak people out the most? Like, what would you do to, like, you know, rob a bank or something like that?
Maybe surround it with, like, Komodo dragons.
Oh, I forgot. man, how strong would the lizard be in the reptile house at a zoo? Why is he not just constantly... It's like, Spider-Man, the lizard's like, there's another caper involved. Is he in the reptile house at the New York Zoo? Yeah, well, how did you guess? He's always there and he always throws Komodo dragons at me. Fucking sucks. And you just have like Norman Osborn, like, Norman Osborn has donated another $400 million to the reptile house at the New York Zoo. It's like, I wonder what his next plan as the Hobgoblin involves.
See, the thing is, though, now I'm imagining, like, how did the Komodo dragons get there? And I've just got, like, an image for some reason. I don't know how. For some reason, just, like, a bunch of Komodo dragons trying to board an airline. Like, yes, I'd like a ticket, please.
That's the thing, if you can control, you can make them sit nice.
Well, like, that's the thing, yeah. But, like, he obviously couldn't make them talk English to ask for a ticket, but if 100 Komodo dragons come to take over your airplane, what do you do?
Well, we'd have snakes on a plane, but way scarier. But that's the thing as well. He could make snakes on a plane a reality.
You could make like every flight snakes on a plane.
Not even every flight, every train journey, every car. Like imagine like Spider-Man is like just like getting a taxi at school and then suddenly snakes in a taxi. Imagine that bit in Futurama where it's like nothing can get in or out except millions and millions of snakes.
Yeah.
And snakes start flying out the walls. Like imagine that against Spider-Man where he's like in bed and just suddenly a snake.
Well, what do your spider sense do when all of New York City just becomes snakes?
It's like sends out a web and what he does is he commands chameleons to stand on the edge of every building in New York. So that when Spider-Man tries to web swing, he accidentally hits the chameleon by accident and falls to his death.
Oh, dear.
I love comic books so much. Cheers.